In terms of on the field, I think compared to League One, I think the difference is maybe in both boxes. We say that a lot, in any country and anytime you compare two divisions, I think sometimes the level can be similar, but then the margin of error, defensively and offensively is smaller the higher you go.
Hello, welcome to the United Soccer Lounge. My name is Riley James. We are super grateful you decided to watch today's show because we welcome the man who won the 2024 USL League 1 Player of the Year. He also won the Golden Boot a season ago, and now he's made the transition to the USL Championship, navigating the wild Western Conference with Orange County Soccer Club, the Swiss International. Lyam MacKinnon joins today's show. And we talk about a lot of things. Yes, we talk about the transition from Greenville to Orange County, the transition from League One to the championship, and what the Jägermeister Cup is revealing about the differences in those two leagues, as well as a first-hand account of what he thinks is the difference between the second and third division of American soccer. Well, we also talk about Southern California and weather. We talk about Switzerland and what you need to know as an American about Switzerland. And yes, we talk about Villanova. Villanova, if you're into news, if you're aware of what's going on in the world, you know they've had a big couple of months. Yes, Lyam MacKinnon moving to Orange County and scoring goals in the championship is big news. You might also be aware of a man named Jalen Brunson, who led the New York Knicks to the Eastern Conference Final in the NBA. But I think more people are aware of Pope Leo, the new Roman Catholic Pope, who is also a Villanova graduate with Jalen Brunson and Lyam MacKinnon. Probably different classes, but still, once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat. So a fantastic conversation about those things, learning about the United States and learning about soccer here through the great institution that is the Philadelphia-based college. So plenty of things to get from today's show. Really one of my favorite ones that we've done. I say that a lot, but each one keeps getting better and better. But thank you so much for watching today's show. If you like it, you can subscribe to it on goals.tv or subscribe to Goals TV on YouTube. Like it, share it, comment your favorite thing about whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Comments are comments, and I'll answer every single one of them that you have. But thank you so much for watching today's show. Our interview with Lyam MacKinnon starts right now on the United Soccer Lounge. Please welcome to the show the 2024 USL League One Player of the Year and Golden Boot winner, a Villanova Wildcat and currently the star striker for Orange County Soccer Club. Please welcome to the show, Lyam MacKinnon. Lyam, thank you so much for making time, man. How are you?
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm really good, and you?
I'm doing great. I don't know if you know this or not, but we were about this close to having you last year with Greenville, but we had some scheduling conflicts. As we were getting towards the end of the season, you guys had an intense run of games. We had some shows that we needed to get to preview the postseason, but we're super excited. Everything worked out. We actually interviewed Sebastian Velasquez this year, your former teammate, and we still get to have you on the Orange County side. So it worked out for everybody. But super excited to have you on, man. You are a superstar in this pyramid and obviously making your way to Orange County. A lot to talk about today, but I want to start with something because as a journalist, I like to do my research. I like to go and watch different videos you've done in the past, as well as some film. You are a nap aficionado. That's like part of your routine. What is the perfect nap for you to get you prepared for a game?
I think on game day, the perfect nap is around 1 p.m. We like to have pregame lunch or pregame meal around 3 or 3:30. So around 1, it makes the game day go by quicker also. So it's nice to kind of break the day in two. So yeah, a little 40-minute nap. Hopefully, if you're lucky enough, you get a roommate on an away trip that likes to nap as well, so you're not disturbing the whole routine. But yeah, typically 4 minute 40-minute nap around 1 p.m.
40 minutes is insane. I lay down. I'm good for 2 hours. Like I can't imagine going anything less than an hour.
Yeah.
Is that come from youth soccer? Does that come from Villanova? Like when did that start?
that actually comes from our strength coach at Villanova. Um, he obviously great guy, Kevin Miller. Um, he actually taught us about sleep cycles and things like that, and he was telling us about 90-minute sleep cycles and 30-minute sleep cycles. So I just try to get on that with the 40 minutes, 10 minutes to fall asleep, 30 minutes of sleep, and then and yeah, that's one of the many things I learned with them during my time at Villanova.
And we'll talk about Villanova later in the show. A couple big months for the Wildcats. Not only the Pope, but Jalen Brunson for the New York Knicks, obviously putting on for the university. We'll talk about the Wildcats down the line, but I want to talk about right now, Orange County. You moved to Southern California. You've lived in a lot of nice places in the U.S. Nashville, Greenville, South Carolina, Philadelphia, but you land in the most ideal spot, at least for weather and for everything, to be able to be comfortable all year long. What's the experience been like in Southern California, and how's it compared to the rest of the places that you have lived?
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, I've lived in really beautiful places, honestly. But it's really hard to beat Orange County and Southern California. Just being able to go to training t-shirts and shorts every day. That's like one less worry on your mind. I'm being from Switzerland. I'm used to preseason and January being gloves and tights and Under Armour. So it was nice to be in a place where you don't have to worry about the weather. It's gonna be good, um, just soccer wise, and then even just for life in general. It's a very relaxing environment. When you have a day off, you can really make um, full use of it. So no, for me, it's a really good environment. But honestly, I came here mainly for the soccer, and I've been very pleased with that so far. And honestly, outside of even just the beach and the environment, the soccer part has been great. So getting used to my new team has been good, and yeah, I'm really happy here.
And you said it. You guys have had a relatively good start to the year. You've played about a third of the league games so far, and you find yourself above that playoff line, which is always a goal, especially in a USL playoff system that's incredibly wild and doesn't always reward regular season standings. Just to get into the dance is what's been proven to be effective the last couple of seasons in USL Championship. But the early days of the season, adjusting to the USL Championship, what has that transition like been for you from League One to playing in the second division?
No, honestly, it's been good. I came in, got injured for preseason, so that was a bit tricky for me. I missed most of preseason and the first couple games of the season with an injury to my Achilles. But since I came back into training and into playing games, I've been feeling good, and my team also helped me adapt really well. The guys have been great in terms of showing the culture and really being together as a locker room. And in terms of the level, I feel pretty good. I feel like I've been adjusting pretty well to the level. I've started a good amount of games, and I feel like the more minutes I can get under my belt in this league, the more I'm going to find my marks, and hopefully be able to play at my level that I had last year. So yeah, honestly, it's been good so far. I think it's a pretty expected learning curve. I didn't expect it to be much higher or lower or anything. I expected a step up in terms of intensity and quality, and that's what I found. So yeah, it's been
So
good.
we're starting to actually see with these Jägermeister Cup games, like quality against quality, what league it does what better. Obviously, second division, third division, you have like the tiered system that way that tells you what league should theoretically be better and the quality of play and all this kind of stuff. But someone who has experienced now both playing a third of the season in the last 2 years with Greenville, what is the biggest difference, whether it be on the pitch or in the quality of training? Like what's the number one biggest difference between League One and the championship?
I would say just in terms of environments, obviously you have a few more. bigger stadiums in the championship. Obviously, you have the big stadiums like Louisville, teams that have I would say bigger environments, harder environments to play in. Even Orange County, we have I think one of the best environments and stadiums. I really love our home field. Um, so that's something you have to get used to as well. I personally love it because I feel like it makes me even more hyped for a game. But in terms of on the field, I think compared to League One, I think the difference is maybe in both boxes. We say that a lot, in any country and anytime you compare two divisions, I think sometimes the level can be similar, but then the margin of error, defensively and offensively is smaller the higher you go. And I think that's something that's we can see in the Euromeister games sometimes. If a League One team is having a good game defensively, I think last weekend Greenville played against Charleston, and they had a really good defensive, game, and they kept a shutout, and they found a goal, they won the game. So for me, it's really about I would say defending really well and attacking very well. So it's pretty simple. I think championship teams tend to have more efficiency in both boxes. So that's maybe why when or where you find the level increases a little bit.
And we saw that over this past weekend, with Portland, Heart of Pine. I mean, they had a fantastic win in the Jägermeister Cup 4-2. I mean, they scored some goals, and that's kind of what you're talking about, being efficient in both boxes. And they allowed two, but you can allow two when you score four. So
Exactly.
it's just the way these games are being played. And the Jägermeister Cup's been a lot of fun to see this interleague competition kind of manifest in itself. And it's going to be even more fun when they add a first division in 2027, which I
Yes.
know a lot of guys are excited for. I want to go back to Greenville for just a moment. You had a brilliant two seasons, not even just 2024 where you had all the honors, but even 2023, the fastest hat trick in league history. You scored 4 goals in a game, which is ridiculous. It's something I can only do on FIFA, and you did it, in a professional match here in the United States. What worked for you in Greenville, and what have you tried to bring with you to California?
To be honest, yeah, in Greenville, my first year, I was just trying to find my marks in the professional game. My goal was to learn as much as I could at that level. The first few months, I remember just talking a lot with the older guys. We were lucky to have Leo Castro, a striker that has a ton of experience. So I try to learn a lot from the older guys, and then I think I found glimpses of what I could do at that stage my first year. Like you said, the 4 goal game, or some games where I had goals or assists or good moments, but I was still finding my way into doing it every week. And I think it comes down to just, weekly work. I think the one thing I did well in Greenville was implementing small, bits of extra work every day. Especially, honestly, both years I've tried to do it, and I think it really showed my second year. And to answer your question about what I try to bring into Orange County is the same thing. I try, if it's 15 minutes or 20 minutes of extra work I can do every day, whether it's on the field or in the gym. I think over a long season, like we have a 10-month season, I think um, you never know when, it's going to really click, and then you're going to start showing results in terms of numbers. I'm personally not too focused about numbers because I know it just reflects, the work and the effort you put in. So I know overall it's going to balance itself out. But I think that's the main thing I try to bring. It's just be professional and work on what I need to work on. There's team training, and I think there's always extras you can do. So yeah.
No. And look, in journalism, we're pretty much obsessed with the numbers because that's how like our metric for how you guys are. But yeah, I think what you said is has a lot of value, right? If you do all the right things, both on the pitch on game day and especially in the training, the numbers are going to come regardless of whatever. So it's good to have that mindset. It prompts a question though that your first year in Greenville, you asked a lot of questions and you tried to do your best to learn a lot. What's the number one thing you've learned in your first season in Orange County that hopefully translates to next season or even the rest of this season?
The very first thing I learned was very quickly is to stay healthy because I was really lucky enough in Greenville to not miss a single game
Yeah.
last year. So, before anything on the field or off the field, just trying to stay healthy. So that comes with good habits. I think it can always help. And then in terms of play, I think playing with a new team and new teammates is basically the same process as when I was in Greenville, is really just learning about each other. I think the game itself is, similar anywhere you go,
Yeah.
but really just learning about how my teammates move and how I want to move and coordinating that together. Um, that's been, I think, the work we've been trying to do, especially the forwards. And we found some really good moments recently. I think we're starting to click and we can see that we're finding good moments. Sometimes we get a ton of chances, sometimes we don't score, but you can see that we're finding good moments, and I think that's the biggest thing. Um, and in terms of just new things that I learned, I think the staff, just little things, physicality. There's different types of players in this league. There's faster defenders. It's just being smarter in training and being smarter in the games. That's something I've worked on, especially with Danny Stone and the assistant coaches. So yeah, plenty of things to learn.
Yeah. And the best ability is availability, which you learned that the hard way at the beginning of the season. And
Yeah.
no, it's so cool, man, because I've talked to a lot of guys that have gone the path of USL. They've played in League Two in the college level. They went up and they played in League One, and either they're still in League One or they made their way to the championship. It's such a uniquely American pathway to go through that process, and you've been a prime example of League One success and moving up to the championship. I want to talk about Villanova because that's kind of the foundational standpoint of at least of your American journey. You played 4 years there, really 3 years with the COVID year, 56 appearances, 17 goals. We talked about the Pope, we talked about Jalen Brunson, but Villanova, how good has that been for you in your soccer career?
I think it was a great fit, to be honest. As someone that had never learned about you know college soccer or any school, I really didn't know what I was getting into. I just had a great feeling about it, and I'm really glad I trusted it. And to be honest, it was 3.5 years, probably some of the best years of my life, just in terms of building friendships and having great moments on and off the field. Um, but soccer wise, I had to learn a completely new game, to be honest. I came from, a team in Switzerland that was very um, tactical and with a lot of talent, to be honest. And when I got to Villanova, it was, even rules of college soccer, it just made the game different. The game was more physical. I would say it was more end to end as well. Maybe less time on the ball in terms of like spells of possession. It was more, intensity, a lot of subs as well. So a lot of energy in the game and just the length of the season was the biggest challenge for me my first year because you go from, the European schedule where you have a game a week for 4 months and then you have a winter break and then 4 months again to going 20 games in a row in 3.5 months.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest challenge for me my freshman year. I remember it was after 6, 7 games, I was like, how many more games? Um,
You start
so
Googling that schedule.
exactly, I was like Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. So that was the biggest adjustment, and I remember I was very frustrated because I felt like I could, do so well, but I just didn't have the energy or even the mental energy to go, from August to November, full speed. So my first year was a big learning curve as well, and then, I started to understand how the college game works, and then I really enjoyed it. My junior year, we went to the NCAA tournament. We won the first game. We made history for the school. So, it was a great experience for me, to be very honest.
Yeah. And obviously a university that a lot of people know around the country just from the academic success is fantastic, but the athletic success with the basketball program and obviously what you guys were able to do with making the NCAA tournament, winning a game. It's a well-known institution and a wonderful city for someone who is not from this country. Uh, what did Villanova in the 4 years in, again, a very historic American city teach you about the United States and about living here in the culture?
I remember when I got to Villanova, what struck to me was how nice people were, to be honest. And I'm being very honest. I
Yeah.
remember
Okay.
telling my parents I was like it almost feels weird because everybody is very nice. And that's I guess something that I wasn't really. I'm not saying Swiss people aren't nice, but it was just a different way because Villanova is kind of a family style school. They're really big on community and life on campus. So that's something that struck to me. And life in Philadelphia, Villanova being right outside of Philadelphia, it was completely different. Big city. Yeah, I remember getting out there and looking around. I was kind of like, wow, I'm really in the U.S. Like it doesn't get more big city than that. And then the big contrast was Villanova because it's such a quiet, peaceful place and with so many kind people and honestly, I remember talking about it with my dad, and I was telling him that the biggest thing I took away from those years is really the relationships, outside of the field. It's so many great people and people that still, reach out to me and stay in contact till this day. So yeah, it was really a great fit for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you're the first person, at least that I've ever heard, that says a nice thing about the people of that part of the country. Obviously Philadelphia fans gets a lot,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
get a lot of flack for
yeah,
uh, destroying their city every time they win a Super Bowl
yeah.
or a major sporting event. But who knows? Villanova actually might be a better little city than Philadelphia actually is. So who
Might be,
knows?
it
But
might be.
no, it's awesome because we want this experience for international players to be obviously a great one, a successful one, but definitely a pleasurable one because we want to keep having players come over and play in this country because that's how we usually get guys to stick around and play in USL or move up to Major League Soccer or down the line maybe get dual citizenship and play for the national team. Like that's it's a rare instance, but we want the best players to play in the United States
Yeah,
and the getting the best players we can get involves, making sure they have pleasurable experiences and tell their friends or come on a podcast and talk about it. So it's a really great thing. But Lime, I'm super thankful for your time. I got one more thing to ask you. I'll let you get back to your Monday evening. We've talked a lot about the United States and a lot about this country that you and I both currently live in that I'm very proud to be from. What's one thing that Americans don't know about Switzerland that you would like Americans to know about Switzerland?
um well, it's funny you say that. I would say I've realized that a lot of people don't know that there's no like Swiss language. Like in Switzerland, we speak French, German, and there's a little part that speaks Italian. So if I can, teach anything to anyone, I would say, well, next time you know that there's no actual Swiss language. It's just French, German, and Italian.
Do all
So
of you speak English as a second language?
no,
No?
honestly, I got my English from my mom. My mom's side is half Scottish. That's where I got my McKinnon, the last name from.
Yeah.
Um, so, when I was a kid, she would speak to me in English a little bit. So it kind of stayed with me. And I think when I moved here, it was easier to pick it up. So, but a lot of people in Switzerland have good English levels, I would say.
Right. Because you look at the map of Europe and it has like the languages spoken and it's always like 2 point whatever.
Yeah.
It's so crazy because I guess it's just like the United States. All those countries are essentially states, but they all have such wildly different cultures and languages. But you look at the same map and you look at the US and we're point 0.8. We don't even
Yeah.
speak our own language. The most the most efficiently
Yeah,
as anyone else. So, no, man, it's good. I'm happy that people now know that Switzerland does not have an official language. It's definitely not Swiss, like a lot of people might think. You guys don't actually have something
yeah.
of your own, but you're bordered by a couple wonderful countries, great culture available to everyone over there. Is the chocolate really as good as they say?
It's wonderful. You should really try it.
We got to get a shipment into the office. But thank you, Lyam, so much for coming to hang out. Best luck the rest of the season and stay healthy, please.
Thank you very much. I'll try my best.
Thank you so much to everyone in Orange County. Thank you so much to Lyam for making time for us. About a third of the way through the year for Orange County and the rest of the USL Championship. And we have a long way to go. But next week, it's almost the end of the USL Super League, and we're super excited to welcome a very special guest, a very popular guest in the history of this program, to preview the USL Super League final after the results have ended. The show will come out on Tuesday next week, Tuesday on Goals TV and Tuesday on YouTube, so make sure to be able to catch that, as you will have plenty of time to preview the USL Super League final with us right here on Goals TV. Thank you so much for watching today's show. If you'd like to get in touch with us on the internet, you can. I'm at Riley James IAC on Instagram and X. The show's Instagram account is at USL on Goals. The parent company is goals.tv on Instagram, at goals_TV on X. And you can find many great creators doing plenty of great things in the world of soccer on www.goals.tv. That'll do it for us. Thank you so much for watching the show. For Lyam MacKinnon, I'm Riley James. If anyone cares, we'll see you next Tuesday, like 5 days from now. Don't miss that show.